guys can hear me and see me okay. The lighting in here is a little crappy, and if you're wondering if I have a sunburn, no, I just got my eyebrows done, so I look real red. Ignore it. Let's talk about what the crap just happened in Louisiana. And this is not going to be political. I mean, there's going to be some politics to this, obviously, but this is going to be more health and food and our rights related. So stick around. I promise it's something worth hearing, especially if you happen to, I don't know, eat food and enjoy it and don't like being mandated to take certain things into your body that you don't want and don't like lockdowns. So let's get into this. We here on SquirrelTribe, I don't know how long you've been here, if you're new to the channel because of the politics we've talked about during the election, you know, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, or if you've been here for a while, as this channel has kind of changed the way it talks and what we do, because my interests change over time, but a lot of times there's still the same basis to it all, which is what our country is kind of doing to us instead of for us, right? That's kind of what it comes down to. There will be no drone talk today. I'm not going to talk about the drones. I'm not going to talk about what everybody else is talking about right now with with the bill that's going through the CR. That's a huge one. We'll talk about that later. This right now, though, is extremely important. And again, if you have been here for a while, you know we have talked about food. We have talked about Bill Gates. We have talked about over the last 2 years specifically, how it feels like our food supply has been attacked. And then last summer we talked about this. I believe it was in June or July of 2023. We had a conversation the day that the FDA gave the approval for 2 different businesses in California to start making lab-grown cell-cultured chicken. And I told you guys then that this was going to be a huge, huge deal in a couple of years or even sooner than that. And I knew it was going to be a big deal. And let me explain to you right now exactly why it is. Because the CDC, y'all, the CDC has just released that they have confirmed the first severe case of H5N1 bird flu in the United States. Now, again, if you've been here before, we've talked about this extensively over the last year or two, and how just like with the last thing we dealt with from 2020 to 2023, it feels very intentional, right? So let's talk about this. A patient, this is today, December 18th, a patient has been hospitalized with a severe case of avian influenza, which is the H5N1, also known as the bird flu infection in Louisiana, all right? This marks the first instance of severe illness linked to the virus in the United States. Please understand, I'm about to timeline the crap out of this so you guys understand exactly how, look over here, not over there, this comes across, all right? The case was confirmed by the CDC on Friday, December 13th. Today is, what is today? Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. Since April of 2024, there have been a total of 61 reported human cases of H5 bird flu reported in the United States. This is according to the CDC. Now, let's just real quickly take a small little step back and remind everybody that over the last year, we had a lot of avian influenza going around, which is why we had the shortage. Y'all gonna see the air quotes on this all the time because this is my version of going bullshit, okay? The shortage of chicken and the shortage of eggs. And you guys remember last summer, especially last summer or maybe even before, right around the holidays, because that's when it always seems to occur. We've talked about it. It's always when they know people are going to go out and spend money because they have people coming in, they want to fix big meals, and suddenly our food supply is affected, right? And today's no different because right before Christmas, here we go. We had the killing, again, of millions upon millions of birds who were infected with H5N1. Even if they all weren't, if 1 out of a million in somebody's supply happened to be tested positive, then they had to destroy the entire flock. And we talked about this before. I'm going to remind you guys again. The birds, if you're eating them, as long as you cook them, you cannot get sick. Okay? Let's just remind everybody of this. We never saw any proof anywhere that these birds were actually killed during the whole height of the epidemic, pandemic, whatever the crap they want to call it, with the H5N1, with the bird flu, avian influenza, whatever. We never saw a shred of proof of the killing of all of these birds. We never saw a shred of proof to the getting rid of all of the eggs. But what we do know is that in order to make vaccines, they use eggs to make vaccines. That's all I'm going to say on that. I must also, because this is YouTube, I must remind everybody that I am not a doctor. I am not in the health science field. I am not telling anybody what to do. These are my thoughts and my opinions. I'm not stating anything except for the facts as facts. I will not tell you not to eat chicken. I will not tell you not to eat eggs. That is not what I'm going to say here. What I am going to say is bullshit on all this. And let me explain why. Because y'all, I got a whole thing. Y'all ready for this? So I did a little bit of looking things up, trying to figure out. I went through old notes and everything else, trying to figure out exactly how deadly is this H5N1, because we have the first severe case in Louisiana. I told you guys before, and I'm going to tell you now. When the bird flu was at the height of them trying to scare the crap out of everybody, they went ahead and had vaccines made for it. This is fact. This is not my opinion. This is fact. They went ahead and had vaccines made for it just in case. That right there, big red flag for me. Huge red flag. Just so we're all fully aware, I just saw a massive flag overtake the entire United States, and it was red and it was waving. No white and blue, just straight up red flag, right? So I started looking things up and doing my research, and I was curious because bird flu or avian influenza has been around for years upon years upon years, but it has mutated into different things. So I was curious where the origin of the virus came from. And again, these are all facts that I'm going to read you. These are not my opinions. These are facts that anybody can go out and find. So YouTube, if you have a problem with it, suck it. But these are actual facts. There have been instances where H5N1 has been studied in laboratories to understand its potential for becoming more transmissible among humans. See, the phrasing of the way they phrase these things. This is from a not the CDC, but I took a screenshot of it and I should have kept the website name, but it's from another health thing, right? But the way they phrase it, studied in laboratories to understand its potential for becoming more transmissible among humans. That sounds to me like they're trying to figure out how to make it so, right? That's me. That's just my opinion. It's not a fact. That's just my opinion. Research published around 2011 and 2012 by scientists named Yoshihiro Kawoka and Ron Faucher, which sounds a lot like Fauci, but anyway, involved genetically modifying H5N1 to test its transmissibility. Good Lord, it's a big word. To test its transmissibility in ferrets, which are used as models for human influenza. Why are we altering things to test them to see how much, like what they have to do to make it transmissible to humans? Because that's exactly what this is saying. Let's continue. This research aimed to understand how the virus might evolve naturally to become a human threat, but it stirred significant controversy due to concerns about biosecurity and the potential for misuse. The research was closely scrutinized with initial recommendations to redact certain details from publications for security reasons. However, these experiments were conducted to study the virus, not to create a new one. That's what they say. I don't know. No fact or opinion on that one. They were about understanding existing viral mechanisms. All right, cool. So then I had other questions because I said, when did H5N1 first become noticeable, or it started hitting like the cow or bird population, right? 2003 is the big one. And so I was curious. I said, how many cases of H5N1 have there been in the world from since 2003? And in the entire world, there have been 464 people that have died from the confirmed cases of this influenza of H5N1. And there have been 891 confirmed cases. This is worldwide, according to the World Health Organization, since 2003. Please remember this, because this is very important to me. Since 2003. So from then until now, there have only been, and I'm going to use the word only, 891 cases confirmed of H5N1. Yet, let me tell you exactly where this is. Where is it? Hold on. I got so many links and notes here and screenshots. Open. Open. Open sesame. Please hold. Open. No, not that one. Oh, in May of 2024, CSL Seqirus, or which is the maker of vaccines, was selected by the U.S. government to supply 4.8 million doses of an H5 vaccine to the National Pre-Pandemic Influenza Vaccine Stockpile Program. These vaccines were well matched to the H5N1 strains currently circulating in wild birds and cattle at that time. There have been mentions of the U.S. government ordering 4.5 million doses of H5 vaccine for avian flu preparedness, although the specific date of dispatch isn't detailed in the available information. But the fact that in May of 2024, before we'd ever had a serious case in the United States at all, and there had only been 891 cases in the entire world over more than 20-something years, they ordered 4.8 million doses. To me, that seems a little, that's just me though, okay? So then I was curious because I started thinking about some other things that we had made quickly out of nowhere over the last couple years that people were supposed to take if they didn't want to get the, whatever. So they were supposed to get the, y'all know what that means. And I was curious because they gave it away for free. If you thought you were going to be sick or you were sick or they wanted to stop the sickness, they gave it away for free. The vaccine was given for free. And it was just weird to me that that was the case, yet there was no free chemotherapy. There's no free asthma medication. There's no free diabetes medication. There's no free anything else, but this was given for free. We even have to pay for all of the vaccines that we are supposed to get, that we're mandated to get in order to go to school or just live your regular life, right? You have to pay for those. Yet the one over the last couple of years was free. Vaccine for me, vaccine for you, vaccine for everybody. Anybody can have it, right? So then I was curious, well, they've made 4.8 million of this one, and there's not even been a single case really here in the United States. So why is that the case? So then I said, well, would we have to pay for it? Government stockpiles and emergency distribution. In the event of a public health emergency, like a potential H5N1 pandemic, vaccines might be distributed at no cost to the public through government initiatives. The U.S. government has been involved in stockpiling H5N1 vaccines, which suggests that in such scenarios, these vaccines could be provided free to those at risk or the general population as deemed necessary by public health officials. Now, just as a reminder, I'm only reading you facts and nothing else, and I'm not saying you should or should not get anything. That is up to you. I have no say in it, YouTube. I am not telling anybody what to do, YouTube. I'm just relaying the information so people are fully aware of exactly what is going on. On top of that, where's the other one? Hold on. Ongoing research and updates, just in case you're curious. Vaccines have been continually updated to match emerging strains. For instance, in January 2020, weird timing, the FDA approved Audens, an adjuvanted H5N1 vaccine for use in individuals 6 months of age and older, specifically designed to prevent disease caused by the influenza A virus H5N1 subtype contained in the vaccine. What? Okay. So that's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine there, right? Now, just so we're all fully aware, the United States itself, since 2003 up until now, have had 53 confirmed cases of H5N1 in the United States. In the last 20 years, there's been 53 confirmed ones. Nobody has died from it in the United States. Not a single person in the United States has perished from H5N1. Again, this is fact, not opinion, not telling you what to do. But yet our government, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris ordered 4.8 million doses of a vaccine that we didn't really need because nobody here has really been sick from it or died from it. Just, I find that very, 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 very interesting. What's the rest? Oh, also, here's the makers of the H5N1 vaccines for anybody's curious. CSL Seqirus or whatever. They've been supplying the vaccines to the U.S. National Pre-Pandemic Influenza Vaccine Stockpile. Pre-pandemic. You would only call it a pre-pandemic, I think, possibly. I'm not saying this is fact. If there was going to be a pandemic. You would call it a could be if there was the possibility, but if it's going to be, then you would call it a pre, right? Isn't that how it works? Okay, cool. The other one is Sanofi Pasteur. They've developed and received approval for an H5N1 vaccine in the United States back in 2007. Again, when nothing was really going on. They've continued to work on influenza vaccines, including those for H5N1. And then you have GlaxoSmithKline. They are a subsidiary ID Biomedical Corporation out of Quebec. ID Biomedical. Kind of like, you guys might not remember this, we talked about this a long time ago, but when the Norfolk Southern train derailment happened in East Palestine, Ohio, literally like 3 weeks ahead of that, out of all the cities in all the states, little ass East Palestine, Ohio was gifted with these My ID bracelets. And they were all supposed to wear these bracelets, which was, they were going to put in all of their health information, all of their doctor's records, all of their everything into these health bands. And you wear it around like a little bracelet. You just wear it like a little bracelet. It's really cute. And every time something changes in your health, it updates. And that way, anytime if somebody were to, I don't know, find a body, you have this bracelet on and all they have to do is scan it and they can see exactly what you had, don't have, what your, all your information on this bracelet. Just a couple weeks before the East Palestine Norfolk Southern train derailment, and right before the fire department chief and the governor Mike DeWine decided to release all of that vinyl chloride into the ground, because they're the ones who made that call, and then decided, you know what, we should really set this shit on fire. Then they set it on fire, which again, they made the call, not Norfolk Southern, not the EPA, not anybody else, those two. And then, that big plume of smoke that went over numerous states. It was just very interesting timing that the ID biomedic kind of stuff was already on the wrist of a lot of those citizens when they were showered with all those chemicals from the train derailment and subsequent vinyl chloride setting on fire. But anyway, so then you have here Moderna and Pfizer also are part of the H5N1 vaccine development. And we know how much trust, in theory, because again, I'm not saying this as a fact or anything like that, but we know how much trust people have in both of those, given the fact that the last thing they made isn't really doing so well in a lot of people's bodies right now. And again, that's fact. It has been proven through Congress and has come out through the government that is fact. That is not my opinion. That is fact. So YouTube, again, suck it. They're telling you that this is how you know if you have H5N1. It's easily spread. God, this is so incredibly stupid. And I think we're still backwards here. I have no flipping clue if this is still backwards. If it is, just turn your screen upside down. I don't know. H1N1 is what it used to be. And they said it was easily spread, but rarely fatal. But now they're saying H5N1 spreads slowly, but often fatal. Often fatal. So the first one that was easily spread, we didn't get a vaccine for that. They didn't order 4.8 million of those, but this one that spreads slowly, meaning it's almost very, very difficult to get it, which is obvious based off of 891 cases around the entire globe over 21 years. But that one we've ordered 4.8 million vaccines for. It's just interesting to me. It's just interesting. We're only having an interesting conversation here. We're not saying anything about any of the stuff. We're just having a conversation, YouTube. Now, just for those of you who are curious on how this works, cooking chicken, because that's what they're worried about is the chickens. The whole reason, y'all, the whole reason we started with the lab-grown cell-cultured chicken, and I told you last year that watch how it's going to be the push as the new norm, and now you have this coming out. They're going to say, or scare, I think, I'm not telling you they are, but I think for me that they want me, I got to figure out how to phrase this shit. They want me to possibly be worried about the fact that I could maybe possibly get sick if I eat chicken or eggs or something else like that, because they could get bird flu because they're birds, right? But then also now it's somehow in cows and dairy milk, because that makes sense. So I also have to worry about beef and drinking milk and anything that's actual animal related. But oh no, I'm safe. All I have to do is go buy and eat this lab-grown cell-cultured chicken, because it's not something that's ever been out in the wild. It can't get H5N1. So there's that. That's my thought, is that's what people are gonna can't say should. That's what maybe could happen, and I don't even know how to phrase this. Look, if I get another slap on the wrist, they're going to take my channel away. I probably shouldn't be talking about this at all. If I ever go missing, I am on X. And I know I shouldn't be talking about this because they take down anything that has to do with the person that Donald Trump picked for his cabinet to make America less unhealthy again. I have to be careful how I say absolutely everything. But hypothetically, Sarah, I love you. Hypothetically, this could be a better reason for people to go out and purchase lab-grown cell cultured chicken because hypothetically, it could be safer. And hypothetically, it's probably going to cost a flipping arm and a leg. So hypothetically, you better be real rich if you still want to eat chicken. That's my hypothetical. But if you do happen to have chickens and you want to still eat the chickens, all you have to do is cook them little mofos to an internal temperature of 165 degrees. And shocker, it kills H5N1. And this is fact. This is fact. Cook poultry to an internal temperature of 165 degrees with no pink parts. Keep raw poultry separate from cooked foods and foods that won't be cooked. This feels like common sense, unless you're just brand new to cooking or whatever. Wash your hands with soap and hot water after handling raw meat. Look, I had a very inappropriate adult joke there. We shall continue on. You should wash your hands before. Anyway, eggs, fully cook your eggs, no runny yolks. Now that's what's gonna F a lot of people up because a lot of people like those little runny eggs and sop it up with some toast and whatnots. Also, there is the possibility of cross-contamination. Prevent cross-contamination by keeping raw poultry and their juices away from other items. Refrigeration. Never leave raw poultry at room temperature. Ew, right? And then marinating. Throw away any used marinade after marinating raw poultry. I'll tell you right now, if you have marinated poultry and then cooked the poultry and then used your marinade, like saved it to use again, you're sick. You gross. Don't do it. That's disgusting. Okay? And then just because I just want to remind everybody that according to the MSU, this is not my thoughts, my opinions. This is what MSU of College of Agriculture and Natural Resources puts down as fact. Humans cannot get avian influenza from commercial milk or properly cooked poultry and eggs. So, again, 4.8 million vaccines, but it's very, very, very difficult to get H5N1 unless, of course, you're just not aware and you would rather be hypothetically safe than sorry and fall in line, and hypothetically you identify as a sheep and then you'll just do whatever the government says hypothetically. Let's see, what else do we have here? Hold on, but wait, there's more. These are the countries since October of 2020, because that's when they started paying attention, weirdly. Nothing really from 2003 to 2020, and then suddenly 2020, poof, all these little things. The avian and human cases of HPAI, H5, and X. I don't even know what the crap that means, but there have been cases in China, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, landlocked country. I learned that from King of the Hill, thank you. And Russia, the UK, Spain, Nigeria, Ecuador. They have all had cases. The US has had one human case. But what's interesting is that a lot of places that have these issues are also, and I'm going to sound like such an ass when I say it, y'all, these places are also real dirty, okay? I have seen how things are cooked in a lot of these locations. You can find anything on the World Wide Web, the good old interwebs, if you will. And if you watch how things are grown and slaughtered and cooked and stored, I don't think I could ever leave this country and eat in any other country. With DMI, y'all ready? I got the most severe case of bubble guts I've ever had in my entire life, just from accidentally drinking iced coffee in frickin' Mexico, all out of the resort that we stayed in, because I got Mexico ice, and Mexico ice isn't bottled and then iced. It's just from whatever they get water from, and dying for 24 hours afterwards. It took me almost a year to drink an iced coffee again, because every time I saw one, my inside said, nope, bad idea. And I was like, but we're not in Mexico anymore. It's fine. Now I barely ever use ice. I'm like, you know what? Room temperature sounds amazeballs. Thank you so much. So when you see these places that have had some of the issues, it makes you go, well, maybe there it makes sense. Here, it still doesn't. I wanted to have the conversation, although I know this is so tricky and sketchy to do on this platform. And if I get a slap on the wrist, my husband's going to kill me, because if they take my channel away, we're fucked. But this had to be had. This conversation had to be had, because it is the slow uptick. When we've been talking about the drones, right? We've been talking about the drones, and it's like, look over here, look over here, look over here. What's happening on this side? So much is happening over here. That crappy bill that they're going through with the CR or whatever, the $895 billion defense bill that they just passed today. Then this out of nowhere with the H5N1. Like, there's so much stuff happening here, but we all so focused on the drones that this is kind of like under the radar. I went to probably 4 or 5 different online publications and just scrolled through to see how many of them were going to talk about this H5N1, if it's such a big deal that they have all these vaccines for it and everything else. And nobody had it. Yahoo didn't have it on their main thing. Neither did New York Post, neither did USA Today, neither did Washington Post. And who was the other one I looked at? I don't remember the last one I looked at. I don't remember. So I had to start looking for these things, and then I found them, and it's like, okay, so this is going to be one of those like silent little slide them in. But it made me worry immediately about, well, there goes another. Here we are thinking that the drones are going to be a cause for another lockdown, when it could be this whole one severe case in Louisiana. I don't know. I personally, my opinion for me, myself, not telling you how to feel or what to do. I don't trust the scenario. I don't trust the situation. And until I meet this person in Louisiana, I don't even know if it's true that they are really sick, right? This could just be a thing. Because again, last summer, never once did I see a pile of burnt up chickens. Not a single time. Not a single time. But I did see prices go through the freaking roof in the grocery stores. And then suddenly, after the holidays were over, no more shortages. Everything's fine. Back to normal. Not a big deal. No more food plant explosions. No more fires. No more whatever else. Just saying. Just saying. And your best bet, my best bet, let's phrase this differently. My best bet, hypothetically, is to continue on the way I have been, because if this H5N1 has been around for 21 years and I have yet to contract said H5N1, clearly I'm cooking my chicken accurately and eating well-cooked eggs. So, I mean, don't go make out with weird poultry or diddle anything and you should be fine, because any other way, it doesn't make sense. The person in Louisiana, look, I'm gonna sound like an asshole again. The person in Louisiana, I wonder if they are a Haitian immigrant, because a lot of Haitian people in that Ohio town, Springfield, were doing some weird stuff to animals. I'm just saying, I don't know who the person is. I don't really care who the person is. In all honesty, it all comes down to, at the end of the day, this will always feel like a profit over people kind of thing to me. And it sucks getting to be my age. And the older I get, I'm 42, the older I get, or the more I've opened my eyes over the last 4 years, the more I distrust the government and authority. Respect my authority. I can't do Cartman. Anyway, the more I distrust it, and the more I question every single thing and try to look at it from every single angle before I'm like, okay, I'll believe it. I got to see it from every single angle, because if not, you know, I don't believe it. I don't buy it. I don't trust it. So just keep an eye out now. I would say every day when you get up, just maybe do a quick little Google of H5N1 or, you know, bird flu or whatever, and kind of see what's going on, because I feel like it's going to have an uptick very soon, because that's what happens. I mean, we were worried about, what was it, monkeypox that hit New York City last year, because there was like a case of it and we were all supposed to be super terrified, and then suddenly flitted away. Nobody talks about monkeypox anymore. Same thing with some other stuff. And I think they said, I read somewhere that there was somebody who was diagnosed with tuberculosis somewhere in the US, and I have to wonder if it was an illegal immigrant or whatever else. But either way, I feel like right now there's going to be a lot of pushes for things to kind of put us back, this is hypothetically, or in my opinion, I don't even know what crap I'm supposed to say here, but could put us back into the same kind of situation we were in as Donald Trump left office last time. Now for him to come back into office in the situation that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris came into. That way he can be as fucked as they were coming in, and, you know, hopefully he will handle it better, which I 10,000% believe that he will. It's just a thing. Just a thing. So, y'all, there's a lot more we could talk about today, but that's all I really wanted to do right now. So just pay attention to what's going on. Wash your hands before and after handling raw meat, and make sure you cook your chicken to an internal 165 degrees. If you're eating raw chicken, you're gross anyway. And maybe you deserve the diarrhea you get from it, because ew. Cook your eggs. I made boiled eggs before I came over here to talk to y'all and get my eyebrows ripped apart. But besides that, y'all, that's all. That's all. Just pay attention to what's going on. Oh, Zika virus. Oh, yes, that thing too. Come on now. There's so many things they have thrown at us to, but hypothetically, they have thrown at us to kill us all. And y'all, we're still kicking. We're still here. We're still kicking ass and taking names. So that's that. Thank you for letting me have this conversation with you. Fingers crossed we're still here tomorrow, because YouTube, you know, just never know. Make sure you follow me on X just in case. I love y'all immensely. Have a fabulous rest of your evening. Eat safe. And just say no to lab-grown, cell-cultured chicken, however the crap it's phrased. Just say no. Okay? Love y'all. Goodbye. Adios.